One thing I will tell y'all, folks are so apprehensive on coming back in the office. It was a real big psychological thing for me. But man, it is getting to the point where you can just see the ambiance and the tensions of people coming back. You know, you starting to hear murmuring about folks not coming back and gonna get canned. Like folks don't want their peace disturbed. They really don't want to come back, and I understand. You know, and man, I get it. It's because they know that they can do what they need to do, and they can just be at the crib. You know what I'm saying? So, and there's probably not a lot of space. It will stimulate downtown. I will tell you that much. It will do that. So, if you're a local small business or whatever the case may be, that will make a difference for you or whatnot. But yeah, it's very interesting. You know, it's going to be a hell of a ride. You know, but I'll break it down even further. You know, on my next video I do. I try to keep this short and sweet. But yeah, folks is not interested, man. They're not at all. All right, so 36 it is, y'all. We'll be hopping on 36. Get this out the way. So you gotta be so. I don't like hoodies in the back of my stuff. It's just my hoodie. But yeah, man. I guess I'll touch on that another time. You know, on my way back, whatever. But yeah, the remote. What I've noticed with the remote thing, and my jacket still shows. Oh, whatever. What I noticed with the remote thing is a lot of people are upset. A lot of people are very, very upset with having to go back in office. Now, I wanted to make something real quick and talk about that. What does it mean for black folks? That's the ultimate question that we're going to have. What does it mean for black folks? That's what people are going to want to know. I'm wondering if I could just take a left right here, because then it'll bring me to where I need to be. I don't even know why I'm going this way. What does it mean for black folks? Well, there's been articles that have been coming out that a lot of black people feel like it's safer working from home. Safer on their psyche, safer on their mind, whatever the case may be. And you know what? I know exactly what they're talking about. Because this has been something that I've dealt with, something that I personally know people that have dealt with. A lot of the things that's going on in the workplace, which is very unfortunate, you know, what we have to deal with on the work level. I'm kind of getting discombobulated because it's rush hour, so my bad, y'all. But we deal with a lot going to work, dealing with a lot of microaggressions, and we figure, well, if it's remote, we can just do our job because we want to do our job. You can't really be in the IT tech world and not do your job. You have to do your job. So black folks that work in corporate, or specifically I'm speaking in tech, they would much rather work remote so they can just go ahead and just do what they got to do and ain't got to deal with all the extra stuff. Now, in the environment I work in, they're making people come back 4 days per week. I'm already seeing what it's doing. Now, on the flip side, it's good for real estate. It's good for parking, for people, especially if you're working places, if you're working downtown. And they're also making it a way where they're forcing people back in the office and saying, if you don't come back, then, they're going to starve you out. So that's kind of what they're doing too. If you do not come back in the office, they are going to starve you out. They're going to starve you out. So if they fire you, now you got to go out here. And right now, if you go out here and you start looking, There's a lot of layoffs. My homie just sent me something where it said there's a bunch of layoffs and there's a bunch of Intel at Intel and Dropbox, or it's several different companies. But then I saw something that looked a little promising, where some recruiter said she had some information, mainly for recruiters. But I'm going to give the information to you guys. I'm a surveyor of people, as I said before, so I want to make sure that y'all have the information. So it's supposed to be some list of a bunch of companies globally where there's a shortage of workers or something, and they need that support or whatever the case may be. So, if they have that information, and she wants to give it to us, then by all means, I'm going to accept it. I'm not going to not accept it if someone's giving me information. So, I've already heard some murmurings, and I've heard some people, and I sit there, like I say, I be in the office. I don't say much, if at all. I barely talk when I'm in the office. And some people may not like that. It makes the day go by real slow. It really does. Because folks just be yapping and yapping and yapping and yapping all day long, but that's how they get through their day. And it's like, well, for me, I would rather be quiet and suffer being that bored if there's nothing to do. Because I seen some people and all they were doing is just walking back and forth. And I'm like, damn, they really don't got nothing to do. But yet, when I'm done with my work and there's nothing to do, somebody's hovering around me asking about what I'm doing and stuff like that. Okay, then, hey, I can't do anything. If they don't have any more things for me to deploy, there's nothing I can do. You can't just make something out of thin air. That's another reason why we like to work from home. But anyway, they really did not have nothing to do, because I heard the hours and hours of conversation. Well, I also heard murmurings about some people that might be willing to give up their job. I've heard people talk about them not coming in a full day. I've heard people say that. Hey, I'm coming in at 7, 8 o'clock, and I'm out at 1. And I work remote the rest of the day. But they might find a way to combat that. They might say, you got to be in the entire time. Now, I don't know how stringent they're going to do. But I've been hearing another thing where they said that people are going to start testing it. That's something I've been hearing as well. They're going to start testing it. People are going to see, hey, can I really get away with this? I want to know, can I get away with this? And I've captured some of that information. So that's why I'm letting y'all know. So you got some people that's kind of like, hey, look, I want to see if I can get away with this. So for me, I still have not heard word back at that company. And so what I did is I reached out to them because, I'm trying to get into some hybrid or whatever like that, so I ain't got to be dealing with all that mess. So I haven't heard back from that company just yet. And so what I did, let me tell y'all what I did. I reached out to the recruiter and the account manager, and I said, hey, listen, do you have any updates? The recruiter should have reached out to me this week, because that information should have been presented to me. And so I emailed her, and I just let her know, I'd appreciate an update, And this is another thing that I did. I let them know that I had other opportunities. Even if you don't, let them sweat a little bit. So I let them know, hey, I got some other second round interviews pending. Do you want me to cancel them? Because I do want to work with you guys. Sometimes you got to throw a little cap on there. That works sometimes. So usually, because see, and the reason why I asked them this question, and I tried to see what was going on, is because they kept badgering me. You see how many times, like when I was doing my videos, they kept calling and calling and calling, and they just kept doing that. And I'm like, okay, well, let me find out something. Let me know what's going on. Because y'all were reaching out to me when it was time for an interview. I cleared my schedule. I was flexible. So The only other, the bad part of my interview is that when that power went off. That was, that was something that happens. I said the power went out. I didn't say my laptop charger went out. I just said the power went out. But, I had no idea. I didn't think my laptop, I thought I was at 100%. So that's how I know, shoot, it's time to upgrade. So that possibly could have costed me the interview. I'm thinking that's possible. Or I might hear next week. So we'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and upload this for you guys. Any new positions to come up, I'm going to talk about those a little bit. And then we'll go on to the next subject.